Hi, this is Dana with Designs by Dana, and I have been asked to make a video tutorial. And in my tutorials, I want to give you as much information as I can so that you can take the technique and go anywhere you want to go with it. So this is a hat I had on before I turned on the camera, and this particular hat, it looked really small, like a little kid had it first. And so I said, well, let me stick it on my head right quick. And it fits really well. Wouldn't really need the edge. This is just a raw edge. And I'll show you what that raw edge looks like in a minute. Where this is a back loop stitch, but it's made this way. And then I connect it on top of this. And this is just a little flower petal stitch. I'm not sure the name of the stitch, but I'll show you that. So I'll try to show you this stitch. I'll try to show you the back loop stitch, and then there's a waffle stitch that I do on one of the hats. And then I'll have 4 or 5 different pictures of people's hats at the beginning, at the end of this tutorial. But that way you can get the most out of one video. So let's get started. Let me adjust my camera and stuff. I started making these hats around Christmas time, so I just went and found one of those when I was going to get some yarn. Pretty much same pattern, just a regular double crochet. But because I don't like to see seams in my work, I tend to don't work with a lot of double crochets. I have 2 orders for black hats, so I need to get those done. Then I have an order for a blue and another color hat, I'm not sure. So I'll show you the yarns that I like to use. I like to work with Quran, Simply Soft. These come in 6 ounces. The hook size that I've been working with on all my hats has been a J. That's a 10 or 600 millimeter. And I'm going to start you off with, all of my hats now have rubber bands in them. The first one I did not have, and then I came across a video that I saw people were using rubber bands. I like that idea. So that's what I chose to do. So I'm going to show you how to get started. I'm going to reposition the camera like I said before. Put it behind me so that you're looking over my shoulders as I work. And I'm probably going to be working on 2 or 3 hats at the same time. So let's see what happens here, just to give you a lot of information and not take up too much of your time. I went and found these. I prefer the ones that don't have the metal on them, but these are stronger, just because I have to crochet over top of them. So I do have some that didn't have them, but I had a whole lot of these. So this is what I'm going to choose to use. I'm going to start you out with the blue turquoise color, but I have orders for 2 more blacks, so I'll be really working on my black in between this video while I'm doing it. And I think I have an order for another one of these colors. But let's get started. I don't want to prolong it anymore. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you the one where we start with this. And I like to work out of the middle. I'm not teaching you how to crochet. I don't like to write patterns, so I'm just giving you a tutorial and giving you as much information as I can. All right. So I stick my hook in and I draw up a loop, and I like to start trying to get rid of my tail at the same time. And I do a single. Now I'm going to measure from the middle of the head all the way to just above the eyebrow of whoever head I'm making this for. If I'm doing a generic hat and I don't know the head size, I will tend to do, my hand is 7 inches, so I'll do just a little bit more, like from the top of my head, see, to my eyebrow. So I'll do the width of the length of my hand. So how we want to get started is I'm going to filter that tail in just to get rid of it. And I'm going to chain however many needed chains I need to get to the length of my hand without stretching. All right. And that gives me the length of my hat. A little bit. And depending on what stitch I'm going to use, I have to have a turning chain to turn around and go back the other way. So sometimes I might put it up there and then just measure it. See there? All right. I like that. And that was how many chains? Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27. All right, with this particular one, I'm going to show you the back loop, like this one I have on. So because it's a single crochet, I only need to have one chain to turn around to go into. Now I go into what's called the back loop of the chain. This is the front, the right side of the chain. Can you see that? Right side. And then if you turn it over, that's the back side. And those are loops, the back loops. So I go into each back loop with a single crochet. So I don't go on the first one, I go on the second one. And let's see if I can. I said I was going to zoom you in over my shoulder, but that wasn't working too good. Let me see. And I do a single crochet in every loop, in every bump. I call them bumps. And I've probably done enough videos that you kind of know what happens at the end of this, or what it looks like. And I do this so that I'm able to use the other side when I'm finished. I have 2 loops to use by doing that. See there? There's 2 loops. By going in the bump, I'm going to finish this out and get to the top. When I get to the top, I'll bring you back in. I'm down to the last 2 before the rubber band. So I go into the last 2 bumps. And then when I get to the rubber band, I like to do a slip stitch. Some people do a double crochet, but I liked, with this other hat I did, I liked when I did just a slip through, just pull it through. And then I did a chain 1 and turn the work. And again, this is what it looks like when it's finished. So you have 2 loops on this side and 2 loops on that side. And then that means you can work off of either side once you're finished. And it makes it easier to seam your things together. Like this one is seamed together. And you see that seam right there? Isn't that a pretty seam? I did a seam where I left out the front loops of both sides. Front loop and the back loop. And then that created that little design. Now you don't have to do that. You can just totally close it up. And I can show you that also when we get to the end. But I just like them to look, as people call them, store-bought, even though they're homemade. This one, I took this one because I was trying to do different designs. See those designs I was putting in there? Just trying to give it some more texture. Different texture. But then I wasn't thinking when I got done, it wasn't even, there wasn't a front and a back, so I just kept this one for myself. Alright, so I chain one, turn the work, and I go in the very first one, and we're going in the back loop. So I'm going only in the back loop so that I can create this beautiful edge here. Now, if you wanted to do a half double, you could. That'll make it a little thicker. So I'm going to do the back loop all the way to the end of this row. When I get to the end of the row, I'll get to the last one, show you what I do, and turn around, and we'll go back. I'm down to the last two. I'm in the back loop. When I get to the last one, I take both front and back loop. Why? Because I want to strengthen that edge and make sure I have a consistent edge, because what that consistent edge creates is this, and what you see on my head. Those are all the ends of the row all the way around. And let me take this one off because I want to show you something, how you put them on also. Just stick your hand down in there, pull your ponytail through, and pull it down. Let me go up a little bit so you can see. Alright, see there? This hat was made longer than the other ones so that I had the option to go up past my ear if I wanted to. Give me extra warmth right there on my ear if I'd like to. So I made that, instead of 30 stitches, 27, 28, 29, 30 stitches, I did maybe 35 or 40 stitches. And I'll count them when I'm off screen just to let you know how many stitches I did for that. But I like that. Then I just take my little dreads. I have little eeny teeny weeny dreads. Somebody saw me with this hat on today and thought it was just part of the hat. So I had to show her. Alright, but why I took this one off right quick was because this one appears to be like a little kid hat. But I wanted you to put it on my head so you could see. This is actually the wrong side. And when I seamed it together, I just did both stitches. And it's so dark you can't hardly see it. But I'm a stickler for not having seams and looking homemade. So that's going to be really hard for you to... I'm stretching it. But if you were just to take the hat and go around, most people wouldn't even notice where it was seamed together. And that's how good I want you to be. Oh, my lights just went out of my house. I'll be right back. Okay, my lights keep blowing in my house. I don't know what's going on. So that was at the end. And once I'm at the end, I'm going to chain one every time at the end and turn. The very first one, I go in, if I'm doing singles, and I go in the first back loop. Alright, and we do that all the way back up in the back loop. When I get back to the top, I'll show you how I wrap around the circle again. And then all you're going to do for this hat is to keep doing this until it's... I'll show you how to stretch the hat to figure out how wide you need to make it. Average head is between 21 inches and 23. A child's hat is probably anywhere under 19. And where do those measurements come? By just measuring from the tip of your ear all the way around to the tip of your other ear, all the way around and back. And whatever that measurement is, that's how much of stretch you want on your hat so that it'll fit nice and snug without having to use rubber elastic or anything. So I'm at the end, I'm at that last one, and that last one I still do a back loop. Then I just pull it through and pull it through. Tighten it off, and then I chain one and I turn my work and I go into the back loop of the first one and I continue. Now you're going to do this about probably if you're using a J hook and your tension's about the same as mine, you're going to do quite a bit. Something I want you to know about this Quran Simply Soft, it does split very easily, so be careful doing the back loop. You can get little splits, and those kind of do jump out at you. I'm going to say, let me count the rows right quick for you. This I seam together, so every one of these bumps is 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 46, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56. I'm thinking anywhere between 58 and 60 for the width. And the width is like if I stretch this, this stretches out to at least 23 inches is what I try to do if I don't know the person's size of the head that I'm doing. Okay, I like to make these to order, but sometimes you got to get ahead of yourself because you get a lot of orders for them, especially when something is really popular. Alright, so with this one, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to come back when I got about 20 or 30 rows so you can see what that looks like. I'm going to start my next one, my black, but I'm going to start it with this color. And this is a Quran Simply Soft. And I'm starting with this color because I want you to be able to see it's hard to do tutorials with black. So this one I'm going to make it like the headband, like this one. So I'm going to get you started with the headband on this one. Alright. And basically I do the same thing, only this chain stitch and I'm getting ready to tail at the same time. This, I'm only doing the width of how wide I want my band. Alright. And I know that I normally do about 13 of these. Because I wanted at least 12 wide. So if I were to sit that on there. Alright, and then I turn my work, and again I go on the bump. And I don't go on the first bump, I go on the second bump. And I do a single crochet. And I'm going to keep you in frame and on camera with this one since this is a short chain. I'm going to give you a lot of information in this video. So like I said, you can do quite a few things. And this one is called the messy bun hat or cap. When I get to that stitch where I've weaved it in, I just kind of grab up both of them so it's weaved in there really good. Don't like my tails or anything coming out, and if they do, you know you can cut them because they're securely put in there. Alright, so I'm at the last one. Take it nice and gentle. Chain one, turn. I go in the back loop of the first one. And I go all the way to the end. When I get to the end, what do? You guys remember? I pick up both loops, always at the end of the row. And at the beginning of the row, I go into the back loop. It's just a little technique I've come up and I like it. It doesn't create a hole or pull. Remember I told you Quran split, so be careful. And that's why I use a larger hook. I like Quran because it has a shine. It's a little lighter weight. This is a red heart. It's a little thicker, a little heavier. You'll see the difference when I put them side by side once they're done. I'm at the end. I'm going to make sure I get the front loop and the back loop. Single crochet, chain 1, turn my work, go into the first one within the back loop. This one I will continue until I have however many rows I need to get a stretch out of 22, 23 inches, depending on who I'm making it for. This particular one, when I put this one together, how I seamed it, I just pulled the two together and seamed it with a slip stitch, because I like how that just folded in together. It looked pretty nice. I could have done the seam like I have on this hat, but I chose. I'm always just looking at it to decide what's going to look best for whatever it is I'm working with. And you'll be able to do the same thing. All right, so we're going to go ahead. I'm going to get this done but when I come back, this will be in black. All right, so what am I saying? Because I need to get these two hats done at the same time I'm making this video. So I'm killing quite a few birds with one stone. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start this one more time, and I'm going to do this one with this headband. And I'm going to do the same 12. And the 13th one is my turning chain. So I turn it, I skip that first knot, first bump, and I go on the second bump with a single crochet. So I'm going to make this, and when I come back, hopefully you'll see some progress on all three of them that I've gotten started. All right, well, thank you to this point for joining me. And if you're learning anything, take the time to stop and give me a thumbs up. And if you already are not a subscriber to my channel, subscribe to my channel. Look around. All kind of things on my channel. Not just crocheting. I do the hair crocheting, the latch hook, and I'm now working on a new technique on balding for women. So God has given me a lot. I got a lot going on at one time. So thank you for watching, and questions or concern or comments, always take the time to leave those. Much appreciated. All right, so I'm going to show you that black. See how hard that is to see? See, so you don't ever teach with using black. I don't even in the classroom teach with using black. I always grab a color. So I chain 1, turn my work, go into the back loop, all the way across. Get to the end, go in both loops, chain 1, turn, go into the back loop all the way across. All right, so we'll do this. This is the band I'm working on this one. On this blue one, I'm working on the actual whole hat, and I'm running them vertical, and these are running horizontal. Same stitch, just different direction. All right, I think you'll have fun with this. All right, and I'll be back. All right, I'm a little ways down. I just wanted to stop and show you. This is where I'm at with this one. It might be just a tad bit longer than the black one you saw I had on at the beginning. Now, I would actually call that the wrong side because I can see a little tail slipping through there. So I have to make sure when I put them folded in half and seam it together, that the right side, this is my right side, will be together so I can seam on the wrong side. And this is how I count my humps, the rows. Each hump on the right side is 2 rows. So that would be 2 rows, 4 rows, 6 rows, 8 rows. And see, that very first one is 1 row, the chain, 1 row, and then this is the second row, and that's how I count. Alright, so that's with the Quran. Now, this is with Red Heart black, and it's thicker. It's really hard to see it here, but I'm going to put it up against same hook, same different yarn, give different weights when you use different material. All right, it's not the same rows. I have, let's see how many rows here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 22 rows here. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I have 15 rows here. 15, 22. But it's going to be different because of the weight of the yarn. This is shinier. This is a little duller, a little thicker. So you're going to have to remember when you make your hats, that's going to affect the way your hat looks. Might be a few more rows or a few less rows. So this yarn right here, I'm going to be working this style hat. I'm going to show you how to do that one. This one will be the waffle stitch I'm going to do across the top. It's a really thick stitch. And sometimes I tend to do the thick stitch on this yarn because this is more lighter weight. So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll change that. Maybe I'll put this hat over here and do this stitch on here. And then on this stitch, I'll do the waffle back and forth so you can see how it can weigh it and make it thicker. Alright. And then this one right here gives it more weight too, because they're all single crochets. No holes or anything in it. Alright, so when I come back, I'll be ready to tie the bands together on this one and this one. And when I come back with this one, I'll be able to close it up and seam it and show you where I'm at on this one, because you're just doing the same thing, but I'm teaching you 3 different options that I'm giving you. Alright, I think you're going to love it. Alright, so it might be tomorrow when I come back, depending on how much I get done tonight. And thank you so much for watching. Alright, I'm back, and I'm going to show you what I'm working on. So I keep calling this turquoise, but I don't know what color they call this. Let's see what color they call it. Ocean. They call it ocean. Okay, so let's call it ocean. We're making this hat with ocean. So here I am at my last row. I think I'm going to do, was that 58 or 59? So when I get all the way down to the bottom, I'm going to clip here and then seam it all the way up. 2 wrong sides together. But I wanted to show you how I measure. Remember I told you my hand was 7 inches? Alright, so what I do is I place my hand and I stretch. And I move it down and I stretch again. 14. Put my hand. 21. And then 22, 23. See what I mean? So that's got enough stretch in it for me. And then if I count how many rows it was, I think I'm stopping at 58. I'm going to come out and come back in. Alright, I'm back. Now, what I figured out is you have to, I started up here with my chain going down and back up, so I have to finish up at the top in order for my 2 wrong sides to meet or my 2 right sides to meet. Alright, so what I want to do is, this is the right side, and over here, that one is a right side. So I want to turn it inside out and I want to seam it together. There's another tool I have that I really like using for seaming. It's called hide your tails. But this, you can either sew with this, you can crochet, or you can use a needle. I just choose to use my hook. So what I'm going to do, I did that last one, turned it inside out. Now, the one I showed you before, I seamed it totally closed because I like how that looks. See, I don't want to do it like the one I have on my head. So I'm going to do this one the same way. So what I mean is, got my camera positioned a little differently, so I have to look through the lens. So what I'm going to do is I chain one, and then I am going to pick up the front and the back loop of each stitch. This one on this side. Find the very first one. On that side, okay? Now, you can bring it in and you can do a single. I just choose to do a slip stitch. I'm always preserving my yarn so I can get more out of one skein, since these are all singles. So I'm just slip stitching all the way, going in both loops, front and back loop, front and back loop. One more time, front, back loop, go over to the last one. Be careful, pushing it through. Don't want to get out of frame here, sorry. All right, I'm going to go all the way down to the end, doing the same thing when I get to the end. I'll meet you there. I decided to come back to show you the other way I do it also. The other way I do it, to leave a design in there, I go in the front loop here, and on the back one, I go in the back loop. So I'm going to do about 5 of those and turn it inside out so you can see what it looks like. So I go on the front loop on this one and the back loop on the back one. So on the front half, I go on the front loop. On the back half, I go on the back loop. And this is a nice design. You can either do a single or a double. I mean a single or a slip knot, either one. I'm just slip stitching. We'll do about 3 more, because I'm going to have to take this out. I just want you guys to know what it looks like. You can use the same application in anything else that you're doing. Putting squares together. Alright, I think that's enough to show you. So I turn it inside out. And now you get to see, you get to choose which one you like. That little string right there, I'll cut it. That's from my tail. See? So, it's going to be really your preference. You can have these stitches right here showing by leaving the front loop and the back loop out all the way down. Or you can choose what I did. And just seam them all together. I just like the way it lays. But you can actually do either one. Okay? Your preference. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing. pull those out. There we go. And finish it off, and I'll be right back. When I get about 10 away, I always count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like it's 6 on this side. No, I'm in that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want to make sure that your numbers are even, because you might have to decrease one if it's not, if one side has more than the other. But this came out okay. Sometimes you can add a stitch or decrease a stitch. Alright, so I'm almost finished. Last one. And then I tie a knot. Double knot, pull it up, get my little scissors, cut. I like to leave about that much, 6, 7 inches to weave in. Pull it really tight. These are what you can use for weaving in your tails, and there's about 6 different sizes. There's a yellow one and there's another one. And I'll put that information in the description, what I use. This is for weaving in tails. This is some Susan Bates. And I love it. So, it's really nice. I use it for a couple other things too. For hair, because I do hair. And I use it for locking my twist. And so here you just weave it in. Or you can use your regular needle, or you can use a hook. I do all 3. I just wanted to show you this cute little tool I had. Put it back. But I normally just take a smaller hook. I just don't happen to have a smaller hook today in my frame. Just pull it through, weaving it in and out. And you'll be able to wash this baby. And it'll be cool, fine. And that last one, I turn around, go back the opposite direction. And then there was one sticking out in the front. So I'll go back and get that one. Pull it back in on the other side. Or I cut it. There it is. And I just cut it. Or you can tie a little knot. I think I'll just weave it. I was going to hide your tails. So this one looks just as almost as small as the black one, but we know it fits really nice. Alright, and that's one way to do it. If you don't like this border and you want to add some more, you can. Or if you want to make this a little longer so you can fold it up, you can also do that. So you have quite a few options. Alright, so that one's done. That's one technique. And then we're going to move right on over to the headband one. Now just think, you can make headbands and stop right there and be done. Sorry about that. headband. So I'm going to, now if I'm pulling it together and the two right sides or the two wrong sides aren't correct, then I have to make one more row or take one row out, because I want my right sides together so when I turn it inside out it looks nice. Alright, so I'm going to have to do one more row. Alright, I also measured this one the same way. I just put my hand on here and I stretched it. And then that's 14 because my hand is 7. That's 21, and then I have some more in here. 22, 23, 24. Alright. Now I have two right sides together. This is the right side, that's the right side. So this is the wrong side. Alright, this one I'm going to close off. I like to chain one, go into the first one, go into the second one, pull it through and do a single and tighten it. This one I'm going to leave that other stitch out, so we'll do back and front. I'm sorry, I didn't say that right. Front loop, then back loop, single crochet, front loop, back loop, single crochet. I'm doing this one a little different because the other one I did a slip stitch when I closed it off. I just want you to see the difference. Always make sure my count is right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unworked on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unworked on that side. So I've got to get rid of one on this side. So what I'll do is go back into this one on this side and pick up the next one. And that way I've gotten rid of that extra one. If it was on this side, I'd do that on the opposite side. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unworked on this side. 6 unworked on this side. Real simple. That was a way of decreasing a stitch. Giving you a lot of information, but guess what? It's in a tutorial. You can go back and look over it whenever you get ready. Just trying to give you a lot of information. And you can do garments. Actually, I got 2 garments that I haven't even dropped those videos yet that I finished. I just need to sit down and take the time and get them uploaded. And it's just basically teaching you. And the last 2, I go in both stitches front and back because I want to secure that really good. When I turn it over, that's how that looks. See there? Alrighty. Now, this stitch I told you I was going to teach you how to do the waffle stitch. Alright? So what we're going to do is right from here. This is the wrong side, okay? So I'm going to flip it over, turn it inside out, because I'm going to go in the rounds now. Alright? And we are going to do, I want to do half doubles. No, we're going to do double crochets. So I'm going to chain one. I'm going to show you what I do. I'm going to find the space in here, and I'm going to yarn over, go in the space, close it up. Then I'm going to go pick up that middle stitch, and that gives me my double crochet, looking double crochet. All right. Then I'm going to double crochet like that one. Double crochet very close together all the way around. Alright, and there's a reason why we're doing this. You're going to pick up as many stitches as you can, every row basically. Every space that you can, because remember, this is the raw edge you're working on. Alright. Then when you get done, we're going to need to count how many double crochets you have in your circle all the way around, alright? So go all the way around and then count what you have. And when you get done, I'll show you what we need to do next. Now the hat is going to be worked from the bottom up to the top. Alright, I'm coming to the end. Turn my TV off. And what I do is just pick up the two loops, pull it through, and then I finish off that row with a single. Alright? Now, you need to count. Let me count, you count how many doubles you have. Alright, I counted 62. Alright, so I want to do sections of 4. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go ahead and chain up one more, 2 more to give me the height of that double. And I'm going to start out by going behind the first one, finishing it off with a double crochet. Because I don't like that stitch showing, I'm going to make my own double crochet going up the side, just so it doesn't look. Here we go. So, still getting over coat. I'm going to go down there and get that first one, and be careful. Remember, I told you that simply soft does split very easy. So that's, I'm count this one as 1, 1, 2. I'm going to do 4s to kind of start my waffle stitch. 3 and 4. Alright. Now the next 4, I will go behind. So when I came from behind, so this is called a front post, back post. So this stitch will be front post, back post. And I'll go a little bit in slow motion just so you can see it once I have 4 of them. Alright, so now I have 4. So now I have 4 front ones and 4 back ones. Now I'm going to come yarn over, come in the front, pick up this whole post. That's 1 post with a double crochet. That's a post. That's a post. And that's a post. So there's 4. So I'm going to alternate this back and forth in the round. So now I'm going to do the back post. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now doing this stitch, you do use more yarn, and it makes it really nice and thick. Alright, so I'm going to go all the way around. I'll try to show you one more time. Now I'm going to, that was the back post, now I'm going to do the front post. I'm going behind, these doubles crochets now, I'm calling them post. So, and when I'm calling them a post, I'm going behind it and through it, and I complete the double crochet. Behind it, lift it up, complete the double crochet. One more time, behind it, complete the double crochet. Got one more, yarn over, behind it, and complete the double crochet. Alright, so I'll go all the way around. I'll meet you at the end. I also forgot to tell you that the reason we counted is if you want to have an even amount when you're done. You can do it by twos if you want and do front and back posts. You could do threes, you could do fours like I did, you could do fives. You could do whatever number you want to get that waffle effect. I have 3 left, so because I want to keep it uniform, I'm going to do a double one in one of these because I only had 3 posts left before I finished. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3. So I want to do it twice. It's a little harder, but I should be able to do it 3 and 4. And then I'm going to close it off like I did the other one with a single on top. Alright, let's see how that looks. Put that extra one I put in there. Don't want it to look too messy or tacky. Okay. Now, I'm starting a new row. So I had 3. That one makes the 4th one. So I'm going to stay with the same pattern for about 2 to 3 rows, depending on how high, because my hat only has to be 7 inches high. And so somewhere about right here at height, we need to start decreasing so I can get to the circle at the end. So I'm going to do one more row with the same pattern. So I'm going to chain up 1. I'm going to find my 4. So I'm going to go behind these 2 right here to get my 4th. Staying with the same pattern, because the next row we're going to switch patterns. Let me get back in frame. Alright, there's 4 and 4. Alright, I just want to make sure it looks okay. So now I'm doing the back loop, staying with the same pattern. There. Now I'm going to jump to the front and do this one all the way around. And I'll meet you at the end again. Alright, coming around to the end. I did those 4. I'm going to go up in here and reach that one. And just close it off with a single. Be careful because it splits easy. I close it off with a single. And then we're going to change sequences now. So I'm going to chain up 1. And these were the front loop, so now I'm going to do the back loop. So I'm going to go behind. Let me find that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we're going to go front and then back. But first you got to yarn over. with a double crochet. And this what makes the waffle effect. 3 and 4. Okay. All right, then the next one, this is a back loop, so now we're going to make it a front loop. So you have to go in, pull up that post, and finish it off with a double. Go back around. It's very short this time. Small. So now you're just doing the opposite. That was a front post. Now we're going to do a back post across the top of the front post. And remember, I'm not teaching this stitch. I'm praying that you already know this stitch. This is just a pattern to give you more ideas of things to do. Now we're at the back post, so we're going to make it a front post. One more time. Now we're at a front post, we're going to make that a back post. So after the 2 rows, we changed it. And we're going to do this one more time, and then we're going to start decreasing. All right, I'm going to go all the way around. See if I measure with my hand. I'm getting close. We need 7 inches. All right, I'm keep going around until I get back over. All right, I'm coming to the end of the row. So this one I have to do a front post on a back post. Okay, I'm gonna finish it off. Find it in that top of that stitch in there. And finishing off with a single. Alright, so now I'm going to do that one more time following this pattern. Alright, so now I'm going to chain 1, top of that single, and I'm going to do, this is a back loop, so I'm going to do back loop, back post, then I'm going to do front post, back post, front post. One more time. So here we go. This one is a back post. You have to just look at the pattern. You'll see where you're at. So there's 4. And then we'll do 4 front posts. Do back post. You really have to look in there when you're doing it. It's a double crochet, so you gotta go in there and go behind it. That's the back post. Do that 4 times. It makes a beautiful blanket. And then front post. And we're gonna do this all the way around. And then you'll see the pattern. I'll meet you at the end.